How would we start with telling us who you are?
Well, I'm Brian Van Vliet. I've lived in Calgary, in the south of Calgary, for the last 23 years.
So where did you grow up in Canada?
I grew up in Mississauga, Ontario, spent some time in Kitchener. When I was young, though, my dad was an engineer, and so we transferred to Holland and France as well. So I got to see a little bit of Europe in my younger years as well, which was pretty great.
Nice. And was that during the elementary years or the junior high?
It was in the elementary years, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we came back to Canada, lived in Mississauga, and kind of moved closer to the border, ending up in Windsor, and then met my wife and moved to BC.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
And then from BC to
Calgary.
Calgary, and that was 23 years ago.
Yeah, 95 we came here, in May of 95.
Gotcha. So you've been here long enough to see a lot of the changes that the city's
Tons
gone
of
through.
changes, yeah. Government, through recessions, through the high times, the whole bit.
You were here for your adult life, basically,
Yes.
right? For the most part. Yeah, what are some of the most notable things that you either really like about what's happened in Calgary, or things that just you've noticed that maybe others aren't aware of?
I love when energy prices are up, when the economy's stimulated, the spike in housing, the spike in everything. It's a real good energy in the city. We were obviously working towards getting that back again, but that's something that I love about this city. Very different than Ontario was. We're quite dependent on the resource industry.
Sure. Yeah, that's actually, I've never heard that before, but yeah, just that we talk about energy because we're pulling it out of the ground, but you're speaking more to
There's a cultural energy that takes place too.
Neat.
So I had purchased 3 properties in the US over the last few years, so I was really interested in the US-Canada real estate. And then working with realtors, quite honestly, a lot of times I thought, you know what, there's some areas that I think I could improve on. And so I take a lot of pride in working with clients and really trying to get them exactly what they want, or trying to get the dollar that they want to get out of their house, and really working with them. So my biggest satisfaction in the business is the exuberance of the clients when the deal is done. And there's a high you get from that, and I sort of play off of that.
Well, that's neat to say, and I think I've heard that a few times with people that enter the industry. They've had an experience that they believe that they could do better with, and it sounds like that's near and dear to your heart.
It is for sure.
And then that high as you hand those keys over, it's quite addicting in a sense, right?
It is, and then you get a nice note from the person, or you go out for a celebratory lunch or dinner, and it really gives a different feeling, and I enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, we're really helping people through life's biggest transitions, not just buying and selling home.
It is, and that's a good point that you raise, because I've worked with first-time home buyers, and they're nervous and trepidation, and so there's a lot of coaching and teaching as we go along to calm the nerves. There's more than one house, because sometimes they want to jump in and put offers on everything that they see, and so I enjoy that, and I think having gray hair gives me a little wisdom, and sometimes I can calm down that situation and really help them and then at the end of the process, they're super happy and you feel good about what you've done for them.
I love that. The gray hair is giving me a little wisdom, and we might have to earn it, but you're getting it already.
I got that, yeah.
Well, what did you do before you got into real estate?
Directly before I moved into real estate, I was working in oil and gas, and I was a continuous improvement specialist. So that meant helping with systems to make things run smoother, to make things run cleaner, and project management. So seeing, and this is something that I relate to real estate, because I look at working with each client as a project, and it's my job to make sure that everything runs smoothly from start to finish. Whether that be showing houses, getting a contract by a certain date, I treat each one as a project. So that's how I correlate what I did in my past life to what I'm doing now, and gives me a little bit of experience from a business standpoint and from a project management standpoint that others may not have. So
yeah, I was going to say, as you're saying that, give you a bit of an edge where you're thinking things through systematically, where maybe a lot of agents out there might not take that same level of detail or that approach that you have in your background.
Correct. Yeah, that's where I see that work life correlating with this work life. It's very similar. Taking that project, going with it, and making sure that everything's completed on time and done right.
Mm-hmm. A happy, satisfied client.
That's right. There's no feeling like it.
Well, what's one thing that most people don't know about you?
A couple of things. Looking at me, you wouldn't know that I was once a competitive bodybuilder, and I'm a brown belt in karate as well, so I'm very addicted to sports and that kind of life.
That's really unique. Yeah, I didn't know that either. So that's really quite interesting. But there's other things too. So have you written a book as well?
That's correct. I worked with former Ottawa Senator goaltenders coach Eli Wilson, and we wrote a book on goaltending together. And we had some really cool things. Kelly Rudy, he wrote the foreword for us. Carey Price agreed to be on the cover of the book. So we got it into major bookstores. And that was always a dream of mine since I was a little boy, to have my name on the front of a hockey book. And it was almost like the birth of a child. When that book arrived at our house the first time, my kids were all around and we took it out. It was pretty cool.
That would be really proud.
Yeah, I'm proud of that accomplishment for sure.